Okay, shalom everybody.
Shalom, Rabbi.
So we are in the beginning of chapter 9, where we discuss two lovely tenants living within our body, namely two souls, the divine soul and the animal soul. And the arrangements within this tenement, so to speak, are very interesting. So we said that each soul has I learned the fancy word, the primary residence within the body. A second. Abode, yes, abode, of course. The animal soul has abode in the heart, and from this center it sends forth its influence to the entire body, including brain.
Can you X the Google Chrome is in your default browser?
What?
On the top. X the. I saw it last week too. No.
Yeah, press X.
I'm pressing X.
Oh,
Oh
it's broken. Oh well. Sorry for interrupting. I apologize.
No, I don't know
Yeah,
what.
right there. No. On top. Top of your face. Top of your face. There's that.
No, in the on the top right of the
Right next to the
I
share
don't
button.
have
of the
it.
window.
I don't
Right
have.
next to the share button. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. Beautiful.
Perfect.
Oh,
Crisis averted.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. So in a very special sub-cycle within the body is the flow of influence going up to the brain, which reflects the spiritual reality, where the animal soul having the main center emotions, feelings and desires, using brain, using intellect to serve, to achieve the goals. The divine soul, the main residence, the abode of divine soul is the brain, intellect, and from there it sends its influence to the entire body, including heart, of course, but not just including. In the heart, as we said, it creates some sub-residence. Can I say sub-abode? The secondary,
Subletting.
secondary abode in the heart, on the level of heart. I said in the left half of it, where I don't want to use specifically anatomical terms because I don't want to connect it directly to the anatomy, because it's not literally the same. Especially when you say that this part with no blood, there's no ventricles in heart with no blood, but that blood which is on the left side, right? The right side. Yeah, the right side. The right side, of course, of the heart. It's not functional blood, so to speak. It's blood with no oxygen. So that's the reflection of the idea of no blood on the right side of that level. It represents the control of the divine soul over the emotions of the person. Okay, and also we said that these two souls live within our body not so peacefully, and it's programmed by the script. When the Torah describes the relationship of two brothers, Yaakov and Esav, they are predestined to fight. They represent two different type of interests in this world, conflict, and they have constant conflict, which represents the relationship between our two souls, two elements, good inclination and bad inclination. Each one wants to control the small city, so to speak, which is our body, and we spoke about the stages, right? Each, just as two kings wage war over a town, which each wishes to capture and rule, just to say, to dominate its inhabitants according to his will, so that they obey him in all that he decrees of them, so do the two souls, and so on. And we discussed that there could be two different levels of controlling, right? Forcing to follow, to obey willfully. It could be even a higher level when, they understand that this ruler is actually for our own benefit. So they become his, not just minions or
become his followers.
Not just followers, but partners, companions, so to speak. Yes.
Question about that. So I understand how the idea of the mind or the godly soul, both forcing and also like forcing the heart or the animal soul, and I also understand the idea of it being the animal soul like willfully, like after a while engaging to it. I don't understand how willfully the godly soul or the brain can, not willfully, like be forced by the heart or the animal body to be like
the godly soul cannot be forced, of course. Godly soul could be pushed aside, could be concealed by the efforts of the evil inclination, so that the efforts of it could be in vain, so to speak, if this material part prevails and fortifies itself. Okay. Shalekis, hefzer tzayna shetei hi levada ameisheles alav omanhegatu. It is the desire and will of the divine. Let's go more into the details. You said two kings fighting. Each one wants to be a ruler, but at the end, the big surprise awaiting for us. But let's go step by step. So the desire and will of the divine soul, that she alone rule over the person and directs him. V'chol ha'avorim ihu sorim lemashmauta, ubteilem etzlo legamri, umerkava eleha, and that all his limbs should obey her and surrender themselves completely to her, and become a vehicle for her, literally chariot. Again, we're talking about different stage of surrender, or they should obey. Obey is not so willfully, right? It's through resistance, which would be overcome. Yeah. What do you do with the resistance?
You fight back. You resist.
But what do you do with somebody's with opposing resistance? You
purge.
You purge it. Okay. That's one level. Your entire being wants to do whatever pleasurable and so on, but your divine soul forces you, again, through different efforts, explanations, and education. But again, you do it because you understand that's what I have to do it, not exactly willfully, right? But you do it, forcing yourself. That's the obeying. Surrender. That's already that's the next stage. It means that you don't need to fight on every step. Those right things, right choices, being done without constant fight. It becomes a routine, which is not bad, not such a bad word in Jewish practice. You train yourself. You do it without resistance. But we can understand that this is not the highest level. Surrender completely to her and become a vehicle to her. Merkava, this is very, very high level. Our forefathers called Merkava, chariot, for God. It means that as the same as a vehicle, any device doesn't have its own will and desire. It's just a tool being used by the master. So that's how our forefathers, the righteous people, how they were acting. The will of God became their own will, and that's the highest level of training yourself to do what is the fulfillment of our mission in this world. That the divine soul totally rules and directs the every movement of one's body. It becomes the will of divine soul becomes the will of the person. You understand? Not against the will, just through the understanding that what has to be done has to be done. It's not bad. It's not bad for the first step, but sometimes even for the second step, because each one created in his own way, with his own, level of resistance, and for some people, overcoming this resistance, that's their mission in life. The last level is not so easy attainable. It's not attainable for most of us. That our will the will of God should become our own will. This is very, very high level. Most of us struggle. In some aspects of our life, we can train ourselves to transform into routine. Again, in some aspects. Some people, Hashem doesn't send them too many tests, so that's how they live. That's the routine. Because Hashem knows, each one, he knows that this is not for this person, he won't overcome the test. So he goes through life following the daily routine. Some people capable of fighting, so they face tests every day. It means that Hashem knows that you can do it. You can overcome these temptations and so on. Just do it. Sometimes, as a reward, as a gift from God, you got certain revelations and some inner transformations even. But this is not necessary. Don't expect it as a rule. The most common mode of existence is fight with periodical, routinish, stages. V'yi levush le'eser b'chineiseha u'shloisha levusheha niskarem le'elu. As well as garments for her 10 faculties, 10 inner powers, and 3 garments mentioned above. So the person, self, body, to put it in a simple way, becomes the enclothement, the garment for the inner powers of the soul. Instruments for them to reveal themselves, to act. And we learned about this spiritual anatomy of our soul before. Sheislavshu kulam beivori haguf, that all this, all of these inner powers should pervade the organs of the body. V'hi haguf kulei moli mehem levadam v'lo yavar zor b'soichav chas v'shalom. And all of which, and the entire body should be permeated with them alone, the powers of divine soul, to the exclusion of any alien influence, God forbid. That's the plan. The war plan of the divine soul. First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. Leonard Cohen's song. So first, the brain, the thoughts they should appear. The thoughts of divinity, right? About thinking about being good, acting good, not making mistakes, and so on. That should bring forth the emotions, the love and fear of God, and that should activate the proper actions. It could be struggle, it could be training. Training brings to the habits and routine. The highest goal is that the enemy should not even put his foot into our territory. The evil inclination should not have any say in what the person is doing. That's the goal of the divine soul. Dehainu, let's go more into the details. Dehainu, tlas moichin sheberoish, ihu mimulim mechachma bin adas shebenefesh alikis, shehi chachmas Hashem ubinosi, leizboine migdulosi asher ad ein cheker vein soif. That is to say, that the three brains, meaning three zones of the brain, we're talking about the three powers of intellect, but since everything is connected, and the spiritual realm is connected to the physical, and the spiritual ideas have been reflected in the physical reality, since we have three powers of the brain, of intellect, Chochmah bin Adas, on the level of anatomy, we have similar structure of our highest nervous system. Two halves of the brain and two lobes. Two lobes, and I don't know the medical term in English.
I also remember the cortex.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
The part which connects which connects the brain with the spine, with the spine. But we're talking about the faculties of intellect. Chochmah bin Adas, they should be used by Chochmah bin Adas of the divine soul. The three brains that are in the head, and those three brains, even on level of anatomy, they should be used. Our brain should be used, permeated with Chabad of the divine soul. Chabad is Chochmah bin Adas, namely the wisdom of God and the understanding of Him. But how you fill your brain with proper substance, so to speak, pondering on His unfathomable and infinite greatness. We should download into this computer the proper software, right. Proper thoughts, proper subject to learn. Through learning the Torah, we should fill our thought, our mind, with understanding of greatness of God, His glory, and so on. And from that, ulehoilet mehem al yidei hadas ha'ira b'moichu pachad Hashem b'libay. And from them shall be born through the das, the third aspect of the of mind, of intellect, awe in his mind and dread of God in his heart. Okay, awe and dread, similar concepts, but you see, one is more intellectual, understanding of greatness and the distance and our own, how to say, low, low,
Low level wilderness.
yes, and but this is not yet emotion yet. It's rather understanding, but that's the das. It's understanding which brings the emotion, more immediate feeling.
Right.
Like when we're talking about feelings, we can see different levels of it. Some is more on the level of mind, but another on the level of heart when you start trembling. Sometimes you understand. Sometimes you say about what you think. I feel, right? Sometimes the verb I feel is a synonym of rather cognitive level, right? But it's not the really logical pursuit. It's already a result of it, but still in the mind. But it's already a way to feelings. But real trembling is on the level of the heart, and that's the difference between awe in the mind and dread in the heart. And again, dread is not the fear of punishment, as you said. It's the feeling which makes it necessary to follow. Who am I not to obey? That's the dread. Or fear coming from understanding that my not obeying, doing something wrong, could destroy our connection, could harm our connection, could destroy our relationship. Remember we discussed that that's the best fear. Fear of hurting the relationship. Ve'ahavas Hashem ki eish bara belibi ki rishvi shall heves. As well as love of God that shall flare up like a glowing fire in his heart, like flaming coals. Okay, so these are two main emotions. Fear, awe, and love, corresponding to two main emotional midis, the emotional faculties of our soul. Gvura, corresponding to awe, and chesed, which corresponds to love. Usually we start from love, but here you see when you work on yourself, when you think about the greatness of God and His glory, awe is something more immediately created. Love, at least it's more common. You know, for a more refined person, that would be first love, desire to be one with. But regularly, this is not how it works. First, the awe, astonishing the greatness, and then how to say the signal going up, like desire to be together, to be connected. First, you realize the greatness of God and your own limitations, so to speak, insignificance. So first you feel awe, and then you feel desire to be connected. I don't want to be alone.
And by establishing that distance, you immediately have that urge to get closer.
Right. Because you remember, the essence of love is willing to be one, to be together, to be connected. Liheis nichsavam kolson nafshi b'chshicha uv'chafitza lidovka babi ein sov barahu b'chol leven nefesh u'me'ed mi'umka deliba sheb'chol hemini. So that his soul shall earn and long with passion and desire to cleave to the Ein Sof. That's the Kabbalistic term for the essence of godliness. Blessed is he with his whole heart, person's whole heart, soul and might, from the very depth of the right ventricle of the heart. Maybe you recognize the quotation from the main Jewish prayer, Shema Israel, Lev v'nefesh u'me'ed. In the first paragraph of Shema, we say, love your God with all your heart, and soul, and entirety. The whole your being. This is different levels of devotion, connection, and connection. Yes.
Is this explaining from the last page about how they want us to be subservient and like?
Yeah. This
is not obedient like we're forced to obey. This is through contemplation and choice. Like in the last page, it said she wants to dominate, and
right.
And the wording was, as you said, it was like resistance and subservience. If you go back one page.
Okay.
But this looks like through meditation and through acknowledging God's awe and through having an urge for connection, you do this, which sounds.
But there's no contradiction. The fight is not necessary. Not always is how to say forcing by stick. Like you said, meditation, explanation, education is also fine. That's the way how our divine self they just this war.
Mm-hmm. It sounded very much more by the stick in the last paragraph.
Because we're talking about, it could be different venues of achieving the goal.
Was it saying like that because it's against our nature?
But first, but to force yourself, first you need to explain, to meditate, or just sometimes just to say, to yell at yourself, just do it.
Yeah, so it's talking for.
In some situations, the learning helps. In some situation, you need contemplate and meditate on this. In some situation, you just yell at yourself, just do it. Now let's continue with the Chi yetoichi rotzuf ahava, moli v'godush, ad shetisposhit gam l'chal hasmoli, להגפיל לסטרא אחרא יסוד המים הרואים שבו. The later should be so thoroughly permeated with love, this part of the heart, with love to overflowing, as to inundate the left side as well, to the extent of subduing the sitra ochra with its element of the evil water. 1 second. First, let me do some editorial work, because this translation is very, how to say, eloquent and soft flowing, but the literal one would give us some details. Literally it means that its inwards of the heart should be rotzufau. This is the quotation from Shir Hashirim, from the Song of Songs, that my heart is, how to say, when the surface is covered, let's say by silver or whatever. What do you call it?
Coated.
Coated, yes, coated. My heart is meaning inside is coated with love. Covered. The inwards of heart is covered with love. That's the rotzuf. Coated or covered with love. Moli, the next word, filled. The godush overflowing. You see, this is three different stages. First coated, then filled, and then overflowing. These are three stages, and I will explain you the meaning. Let's first finish this paragraph, and then we'll go to the table which structurizes what we said before. Okay, so the to the עד שתספשת גם לכל השמאלי, will spread to the left chamber of the heart. להפעיל סטרא אחרא, to force, to subdue the sitra ochra, the other side. We know what is it. Yesod hamayim haroim, namely to affect the element, the bad element of waters. You remember we discussed the concept of elements. That everything which exists is a combination of four elements, not chemical elements, but rather ideas. Earth, water,
fire,
air, and fire. So the element of water represents in the realm of our emotional things, corresponds to the desires and pleasures, to the desire for pleasures. So that's the how to say the point of attack of the charge of the armies of the divine soul. That's where the enemy should be hit. Targeted, yes, the main target. Shehi ataiva shemiklipas noga. Namely, the lust stemming from klipas noga.
Right.
Remember we spoke. That's where the turning point within klipas noga. It's the level, the world of combination and mixture of good and bad, and we can make it either good or ruin everything to be included in the sitra achra. How? Either we use it for what it's supposed to be, or for something which we desire to derive pleasure and so on. So that's the point. The lust, the animalistic desire for personal benefit, and that's where the enemy should be hit. Changing it and transforming it from seeking the pleasures of of this world to the love of God. That's the goal of our divine soul, to change the orientation of our animal soul, to make it trans-tzaddik, so to speak, from the creature which desires something physical and animalistic, to the person who pursues the spiritual goals and seeks to bring benefit to the world. Very noble goal. It's driven with all your heart. That's what we say in Shema. What does it mean, the whole your heart? And the word levavcha is written with double lettering base, which is abnormal, which is a hint, as the Talmud explains, with two hearts, both your hearts, because we have two hearts. One is the abode for the divine soul, and the one is fully full residence of our animal soul. Both should be combined and serve the Creator. That's the ultimate goal. Not to destroy, but what's very important, the goal of our divine soul, not to destroy our material being, but to educate it, to train it, and to make it ally and partner.